The federal government has said that come May 29, it will celebrate 2 years in office of this administration, as it is the tradition over time. Speaking to State House Correspondent after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said, considering the achievements of this administration in different sectors of the economy, it is only normal that the President Buhari-led administration celebrates.
He was in the office yesterday, as you all reported. And if the doctor says, oh, take a rest, I think you recover faster when you rest when you ought to rest, rather than by forcing yourself to work when you are not fit to work. So I think all he's doing is following the doctor's advice. And I don't think it's about, oh, he won't come next, he'll come next. Those are just simple guesswork. So the president told the nation he's never been this sick and he's going to take it easy. He said it from day one when he came back from the UK. So whatever is happening today is not any strange development. It's exactly what he said, that he's been advised to take it easy by his doctors and that he will soon also go back for further treatment. So I don't think it's anything that is out of the place from what he said. He has been quite transparent and upfront in the matter concerning his health.
The minister also used the opportunity to lay to rest different speculations about the health of the president, emphasizing that there is nothing to hide since President Muhammadu Buhari said he has been advised by his doctors to rest more.
In our very normal, customary way, we are going to mark it because we have a lot of stories to tell the world. We are proud that within 2 years we've made tremendous progress. We've been able to restructure the economy on a very sound footing. We've succeeded in not just looking for quick fixes, but we are addressing the fundamental issues of our economy, and which is basically that we are moving away from relying solely on oil to other areas like agriculture, like solid minerals and the rest. For the first time, our emphasis is now more on infrastructure, on capital, on capital projects rather than on recurrent. And in the area of fighting insecurity and the criminality in the Northeast, we have a good story to tell. In the area of fighting corruption, we have a good story to tell. In agriculture, we have a good story to tell.
One of the memos that also made it to the Federal Executive Council meeting is the appointment of advisory services for the establishment of a national carrier and other processes that involves airport concessioning, which was made known by the Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika.
Now today in Council, we took the memo for the appointment of those transaction advisors to carry out the advisory service on establishment of national carrier, establishment of aviation leasing company, establishment of maintenance, repair and overhaul center, establishment of an aerotropolis, or airport city as you may call it, and then of course the concession of our airports. It was considered, and all of them are divided into 6 groupings, and they were awarded to Mrs. Lufthansa Consultants TN Aero, FZE, for the national carrier. Then, of course, for the aviation leasing company, Mrs. Aro. Then, for the concession of airports, Mrs. Infrata Dentons. And then establishment of MRO, Mrs. Aro. And then, of course, Aerotropolis and agro cargo terminals were given to JIP, or JIP with a double B. All of these are at, the monies are different, but the total sum is 1,524,492,863.62. Council had graciously approved, and this will signal the kickstart of all of these activities within the industry of transportation, aviation.
The Federal Executive Council meeting was presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. From the ASO Presidential Villa, Abuja, I am Festus Ejiroge Nefife for Ben Television.
The federal government has tasked the newly inaugurated board of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria to prioritize the review of the draft National Code of Corporate Governance to accommodate stakeholders' contributions and come up with a more acceptable code of corporate governance. Recall that on January 9, the federal government ordered the immediate removal and the replacement of the executive secretary and the reconstitution of the board of the council. The new board is made up of 23 members, including Mr. Adedotun Suleiman as the chairman and Mr. Daniel Asakuhai as the executive secretary of the council. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, who inaugurated the board in Abuja, also urged the council to realign its mode of operation to ensure that the country move up 20 places in the global ease of doing business rankings.
The government is irrevocably committed to moving Nigeria up the rankings of the global ease of doing business that is conducted by the World Bank. We would like to move at least 20 places in this year, and by the time this government is coming to an end, this particular dispensation, we would like to be in the top 100. Just to put it in perspective for you, Nigeria was last in the top 100 more than 10 years ago in 2006, and since then, we've just been sort of sliding till we got to 169. But by last year, after we started sort of paying attention, I think the sliding stopped, but the progress must now start. And we think if we can move by 20 places, which is what we think is doable just from what we've seen with other countries that have really taken it seriously, we can then rapidly progress to being in the top 100. And that's something that I think directly ties into ease of doing business, as well as just making, creating the right enabling environment for businesses, for investments, for our people to do whatever they do and do it well. And I believe that the Financial Reporting Council can help a lot in that. And therefore, I would like to request that the council realign, that you realign your operations in this direction, and please let us be business friendly. My view is that this is all about public service. And the interesting thing is that we all like to serve one way or the other, or we all like to be commended when we have served. But I think we just have to accept the responsibility, the stewardship, and I might even go further and call it the love of service, public service. I mean, as we know, it used to be a very time-honored thing. Let's bring it back. And it can be done very consistently with proper oversight. There's a way you can render oversight. You can even do better oversight, but in a way that is friendly, in a way that is courteous, in a way that is professional. The board should also take as a priority the review of the draft National Code of Corporate Governance, with a view to accommodating stakeholders' contributions and coming up with a more acceptable code of corporate governance. This is something that already a lot of work has gone in. But as you know, I will consider it inconclusive at this point because we didn't reach where we wanted to get to. So this will be one of the priorities of the new board.
The chairman, FRCN Adedotun Daniel, assured that the council will promote public confidence through promotion of quality financial reporting.
The board, being inaugurated today, we support management in eliciting the accord of all stakeholders and restore public confidence in the Council's effort to promote higher standards of financial reporting and corporate governance in Nigeria. We understand the expectation of government, especially in the area of aligning corporate financial reporting and corporate governance practices to international benchmarks. And we assure you of our commitment to working to raise the quality of financial reporting and corporate governance practices in the country. It is pertinent to inform you that this board and management will carry out its function to the highest level of professionalism and ensure that the FRCN going forward will be more consultative, less belligerent, less controversial in the discharge of its statutory responsibilities without being any less firm, any less assertive, authoritative, or effective.
There are 3 statutory committees of the board, and the number of meetings of board of parastatals is restricted to a maximum of 4 times a year. Osam Raffle, Ben Television.
Hi, Mike.
Babe, it's been over 12 hours. Are you done thinking about it?
Is the Convince me.
I know how much confident style mean to you. Let me take you somewhere.
What's that?
A superior leading international hospitality chain in the heart of Africa.
And?
They offer very distinct services. Their meeting halls and all their hotels offer conference solutions that can help plan a perfect function for any occasion. They feature outdoor catering and provide services for any size event.
Keep going. You got me thinking now.
The beauty, the decor, and the views. It's the hotel experience you always dreamed of. They have up-to-date entertainment and a variety served at the fast food restaurant and snack bar. Oh, and don't even get me started on the garden bar or the nightclub. You would have everything you need within your reach without having to go out.
Wow. So what if I want to...
Cook? They got you, babe. The rooms are thoughtfully furnished with facilities that aid proper cooking, just like you would at home.
Where is this place?
And it's sweets.
Wow.
So, will you marry me?
Yes. How can I refuse?
Not at Sweets, a colorful affair.
Former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo has called for the review of the Nigerian University curriculum to serve as an instrument for achieving national development. The former president made the call in Abuja at the second quarterly lecture series of the National Universities Commission, NUC. He said the Nigerian educational system must have curriculum to serve as a guide to lead to the mission and objective of the education institutions.
But whatever our education is for, I believe one important aspect in a dynamic society, in a dynamic situation, is that the curriculum must be innovated, invigorated, re-engineered, and be made dynamic.
Earlier, the Executive Secretary NUC, Professor Abubakar Rashid, pledged the Commission's commitment to intensity collaboration with the universities to evolve innovative strategies in the curriculum.
Despite this all-inclusive and proactive approach, the curriculum continues to be the usual suspect, incriminated whenever issues of the quality of graduates, employability, and fitness for purpose of graduates are being discussed in Nigeria. The NUC is fully aware of the global dynamics of curricula and the need to make them flexible so as to be able to respond to current challenges and anticipate future needs and challenges.
Guest lecturer and former Executive Secretary, NUC, Professor Peter Okebukola, said the review of the curriculum would help students from the secondary level to have better and quality education. The theme of the lecture series is on the march to reinvent the curricula of Nigerian universities for improved relevance and global competitiveness. In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports.
The Consumer Protection Council has commenced probe into the Turkish Airlines delayed flight of 22 students of Gleaston International College, Abuja from Houston to Istanbul, and the missed connecting flight to Abuja. On April 23, 2017, Turkish Airlines left Nigerian students between the ages of 11 and 15 stranded at Istanbul Ataturk Airport, Turkey, due to the failure of the airlines to airlift them back to Nigeria as scheduled. The team, which had gone to the United States to represent Nigeria in a competition a few weeks ago, was forced to part with the sum of $40 each before they could be allowed to sleep in the frozen condition at the airport. The council, in a joint media briefing with the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority in Abuja, said the inquiry will cover why the airline delayed the student's flight from Houston to Istanbul by 2 hours and why the airline was negligent in meeting its responsibilities when the student missed their connecting flight from Istanbul to Abuja. The Director General of the Council, Babatunde Irukera, said the students had attended Lego competition in the United States and hoped to return to Nigeria by the Turkish airline, which would do a stopover in Istanbul for the students to take a connecting flight to Abuja.
About 22 Nigerian minors between the ages of 11 and 15 were traveling from Houston back to Abuja on Turkish Airlines. They had gone to represent Nigeria in the United States in a Lego competition. And they were coming back home with the pride and the high spirits of how well they had done and how they had presented themselves as a credible representation of the creativity of Africa, especially Nigeria. However, there were significant delays with respect to the departure of their inbound first segment of their flight from Houston. And since their airline of choice was Turkish, they would have had to fly from Houston to Istanbul and then connected from Istanbul to Abuja. There was approximately 2 hours delay in Houston. But Turkish airline, in its discretion and exercising its own judgment, still continued and lifted these passengers from Houston to Istanbul. Of course, by the time they arrived in Istanbul, they were rather late and their connection to Abuja had departed. You would have expected that Turkish airline, as a matter of law and as a matter of responsibility, would take the appropriate measures to protect these young people and other passengers, as a matter of fact, and make the appropriate provisions under law, both international law, certainly Nigerian law, and as a matter of fact, Turkish law. But the report we have from Gliston School, which is the school where these pupils come from, is that when they arrived in Houston, at Istanbul, I apologize, when they arrived at Istanbul, a Turkish airline had not made any arrangements with respect to their continuing connection to Abuja. Not only had Turkish airline not made the appropriate arrangements, it seems that Turkish airline initially appeared absolutely irresponsive to their complaints and the dilemma they found themselves. These were Nigerian citizens who had nowhere to go, had absolutely no intention of visiting Turkey other than for the purpose of transiting, and so had not made any arrangements to enter into Istanbul or any other city in Turkey for that matter. And the rules require that the airline would have taken responsibility for that. However, that didn't happen. And our understanding from the complaint and the initial pieces of evidence is that these minors and their chaperones were asked to pay to secure a visa to be able to enter Turkey, and failing which Turkish airline would not take any responsibility for them. And obviously this is a problem. Our understanding at this point is that at some point every single one of them had to pay a $40 fee just to be able to exit the staging area, which is the gate area of the airport, get beyond immigration and sleep on the floor at the airport.
Meanwhile, the Director of Consumer Protection of the NCAA, Adamu Abdullahi, who said the airline has been notified, assured that the authority will collaborate with the CPC to get justice for the students. Even as he said, response to the inquiry will determine the next line of action.
We have jurisdiction over how the passengers on that flight are treated. So they have released their responsibility and would ensure that we get to the bottom of it and find out what it is that happened and relevant compensations, when and if they are applicable, would have to be paid and sanctions where applicable would also have to be paid by the airline. So this is a good collaboration, and I believe that this is only the beginning of things to come.
Turkish Airlines has fallen short in its customer services department on its Nigerian routes in the past. The airline in 2016 was accused of shoddy treatment of passengers of Flight 623 from Istanbul to Abuja on December 25 and 31st, 2015, as well as January 9, 2016, which prompted the Council to approach the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation for the prosecution of the airline. Awesome Raffle, Ben Television.